with Beyonce, it's just a weird thing because I do love her so much, and I would never ever want to do anything to hurt her or her image because she's important to us. But it's just a weird thing right now. Like I love Beyonce still. And then you have celebrities like a Jay-Z, and this is where I think the whole fallout with the Beyonce, she's just kind of in the crosshairs because of all of what's going on.
What if a celebrity blogger predicted one of the biggest divorces in music history months before anyone saw it coming? Because right now, the internet is losing its mind over something Jason Lee said back in December, and suddenly his words are hitting completely different. We're talking about Beyoncé and Jay-Z here, the power couple that everyone thought was untouchable, the empire that seemed rock solid. But if Jason Lee was right all along, we might be watching the beginning of the messiest celebrity split in decades. Let me take you back to where this whole thing started. December. Beyoncé's throwing this massive Renaissance movie premiere party in London. It's exclusive, it's glamorous, it's everything you'd expect from Queen Bee. She invites a bunch of influencers and media personalities to celebrate with her. But there's one name that didn't make the guest list, and he was not happy about it. Jason Lee. Now, Jason went absolutely ballistic when he realized he got snubbed.
I stopped a major thing for Beyonce. Didn't even get a thank you.
But now everybody's
Why is everybody calling me now?
And I'm not talking about a subtle Instagram story or a passive-aggressive tweet. This man went on camera and aired out his grievances for the world to see. He straight up accused Beyoncé of not supporting black media, which is a bold claim to make against someone who's built her entire brand on uplifting black culture. But Jason wasn't done. He revealed that he had spent a staggering $40,000 on Renaissance concert tickets and merchandise for his entire crew. 40 grand. Let that sink in. He thought that kind of loyalty and that kind of financial investment would guarantee him a golden ticket to that exclusive London premiere, but the invite never came. Meanwhile, other influencers who hadn't spent nearly that much, who weren't nearly as vocal about their support, were popping bottles right alongside Beyoncé that night.
If Jason Lee is going to let Jay-Z and Beyonce manipulate him and be cool with him now, which he already told you, Jay-Z didn't want to go to the award show. He never got any hair care products. He was made to look like a crazy stalker following Beyonce around. At this point, if they're reaching out to you now, that means they're manipulating you.
So Jason's feeling betrayed, he's feeling disrespected, and he decides to do what any scorned media personality would do. He takes it to his platform. But this is where things get wild. Instead of just complaining about the snub, Jason starts dropping hints about dirt he claims to have on Beyoncé. Real dirt. The kind of information that could shake things up. His guests on the show that day were absolutely frozen. You could see it in their faces. Jaws dropped, eyes wide, that uncomfortable silence when you know someone just crossed a line but you can't look away. And then, Jason takes it even further. He basically tries to blackmail Beyoncé on live television. The audacity is almost impressive.
Diddy now causes problems for Jay-Z. I told you guys I've seen Jay-Z at the Diddy party several times, but Diddy parties and Diddy After Dark are two different things. I want to go on record of saying I never saw Jay-Z at a Diddy After Dark party. Then again, I wasn't there.
He says he'll keep his mouth shut about whatever secrets he's holding, but only if Beyoncé can make Kelly Rowland agree to sit down for an interview with him. It's like he's holding Beyoncé's reputation hostage and demanding a celebrity interview as ransom. The whole thing was so bizarre that most people watching just assumed Jason was being bitter and clout chasing. Nobody really believed he had any legitimate tea on Queen Bee. I mean, this is Beyoncé we're talking about. Her image is pristine. Her PR team is legendary. What could Jason Lee possibly know that the rest of the world doesn't? At the time, fans absolutely dragged him for coming at Beyoncé like that. Twitter was ruthless. People called him desperate, attention-seeking, said he was just mad he didn't get his invite and was making up drama to stay relevant.
In the media with respect to Jay-Z and stuff. But with Jay, you know, when he complained at the Grammys about the Grammys not giving Beyonce Artist of the Year, when she's the most decorated Grammy-winning artist ever, we invited him to be honored at our award show. So it's like, okay, we have a Black-owned award show. We've honored you in the Breakfast Club. We've honored.
The consensus was pretty clear. Jason Lee was full of it, and everyone moved on with their lives. Or so we thought. But here's where Jason's rant stops looking like desperation and starts looking like a warning. Fast forward to late 2024, and suddenly the internet is exploding with rumors that Beyoncé and Jay-Z's marriage might actually be in trouble. Real trouble. We're not talking about tabloid gossip that gets debunked in a week. We're talking about persistent rumors backed by industry whispers, suspicious behavior, and a whole lot of circumstantial evidence that's getting harder to ignore. And that's when people started running back to Jason Lee's videos from December. They're re-watching his rants with fresh eyes, listening to every word he said about having receipts on Beyoncé, and suddenly everyone's asking the same question. Wait, did he actually know something? Was he trying to warn us? Because the timing is just too convenient to be pure coincidence.
Calling me now. And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know you got people calling me.
Jason makes these explosive claims about Beyoncé's marriage drama in December, everyone laughs him off, and then just months later, divorce rumors start swirling so intensely that even the most devoted Beehive members are starting to wonder if there's truth to it. Social media detectives are in full investigation mode now. They're connecting dots, pulling up old clips, analyzing body language from red carpet appearances. And some fans are convinced that Jason Lee wasn't bluffing at all. They think he genuinely had inside information about trouble in paradise between Beyoncé and Jay-Z, and his December meltdown was actually a calculated move to get ahead of the story. Think about it. If you're a media personality with explosive information about the world's most famous power couple, but you know their legal team will destroy you if you just outright say it, what do? You hint at it.
I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
You dangle the information without fully committing. You make it clear you know something without actually spilling the details. And apparently, Jason's strategy might have worked a little too well, because rumor has it that Beyoncé and Jay-Z's legal team actually reached out to him after that December incident. According to whispers in the industry, they wanted him to quiet down, to stop making those insinuations, to basically shut up before he said something they couldn't contain. Now, I can't confirm that happened, but the fact that Jason suddenly got a lot more careful with his words after December is interesting. He didn't completely stop talking about it, but he definitely dialed back the direct accusations. The thing is, if their legal team really did contact him, that almost confirms he was onto something real. Because why would you waste time and resources threatening a blogger unless he actually posed a legitimate threat? You don't send lawyers after someone who's just making up random nonsense for clicks. You send lawyers when someone's dangerously close to exposing something you need to keep buried. And if that's what happened here, then Jason Lee might be sitting on information that could completely change how we see one of music's most iconic couples. The internet is buzzing now. People are going back through years of interviews looking for clues they missed. They're analyzing every public appearance Beyoncé and Jay-Z have made together, searching for signs of trouble. And the more people dig, the more things start to look suspicious. But this is where the story takes a turn, because if you want to understand what's really happening with Beyoncé and Jay-Z, you need to understand their connection to someone else entirely.
What's going on? Losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything, just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Someone whose entire empire just came crashing down in the most spectacular way possible. But this is where the story takes a turn, because one person has been screaming about Jay-Z for years, and nobody wanted to listen. Her name is Jaguar Wright, and she's been calling out powerful men in the music industry long before it was trendy or safe to do so. While everyone else was celebrating Jay-Z as a business genius and relationship goals with Beyoncé, Jaguar was on internet radio shows, on YouTube channels, anywhere that would give her a platform, saying that Jay-Z is actually worse than Diddy. Not equally bad, worse. Now, when she first started making these claims, most people dismissed her as a bitter industry veteran trying to stay relevant by attacking successful people. But after everything that's come out about Diddy, after seeing how allegations that seemed outlandish at first turned out to be true, people are starting to go back and listen to what Jaguar actually said. And it's disturbing. According to her, the reason Jay-Z has managed to stay quiet and stay out of trouble throughout Diddy's entire scandal isn't because he's uninvolved. It's because he's smarter about covering his tracks. Jaguar claims that Jay-Z has a pattern of getting close to very young women in the industry, promising them stardom, and then controlling every aspect of their lives and careers. She's named names that made people uncomfortable. Foxy Brown, who was allegedly involved with Jay when she was still a teenager while he was nearly 30. Aaliyah, who Jay was supposedly trying to pursue before her tragic death. Tierra Mari, and yes, even Rihanna's name has been whispered in these conversations, though nothing has ever been proven and Rihanna herself has never confirmed anything inappropriate. But here's what really made people pay attention. Jaguar also brought up Jay-Z's connection to R. Kelly.
I want you to think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane, to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyoncé, who was struggling.
Now, everyone knows R. Kelly is a convicted predator who abused young girls for decades. It's not alleged anymore, it's proven. He's in prison. And yet, Jay-Z collaborated with R. Kelly multiple times even after rumors about Kelly's behavior were well known in the industry. They made entire albums together, they toured together, and even when other artists started publicly cutting ties with R. Kelly, Jay-Z stayed suspiciously silent about their relationship. People want to know why. Why would you continue working with someone who had such serious allegations against them? Why would you not immediately distance yourself once the truth started coming out? Jaguar's answer is simple and chilling. Because they had things in common. Because cutting ties with R. Kelly would have raised questions about Jay's own behavior. Because abusers tend to protect each other, and speaking out against one might have led to scrutiny of the other. Now, Jaguar didn't stop at criticizing Jay-Z. She made even more controversial claims about Beyoncé herself. According to Jaguar, Beyoncé isn't the powerful, independent woman we all think she is. She describes Beyoncé as a prisoner in a gilded cage, someone who has all the material wealth and fame anyone could want, but no real freedom. She claims that Jay controls every aspect of Beyoncé's life, from her career decisions to her personal relationships, and that Beyoncé has been too deep in the situation for too long to find a way out. And here's where it gets legally messy. Jaguar made these claims on Piers Morgan's show, and the response was swift and aggressive. Jay-Z's legal team came down hard, threatening legal action unless Piers edited the interview and issued an apology. And that's exactly what happened. Piers Morgan, who's known for being controversial and usually standing by his content, actually apologized and edited out portions of the interview with Jaguar Wright. That move alone made a lot of people think there must be something to what she's saying. Because why else would the legal response be so immediate and so forceful? The thing about Jaguar Wright is that she's been consistent. She's not changing her story or walking anything back, even in the face of potential lawsuits.
Is it her place to say so?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there.
She's maintained the same claims for years, adding details as more people have come forward with similar stories. And while that doesn't necessarily make everything she says true, it does make you wonder why someone would risk their reputation, their finances, and potentially their safety by continuing to speak out against one of the most powerful couples in entertainment, unless they genuinely believed what they were saying. And before we wrap, there's one final detail that has everyone rethinking everything they thought they knew about Jay-Z and Beyoncé's relationship. It happened at the Grammys earlier this year, And at first, people thought it was a sweet moment. Jay-Z was receiving the Global Impact Award, a huge honor, and during his acceptance speech, he decided to call out the Recording Academy for never giving Beyoncé the Album of the Year award, despite her having more Grammy wins than any artist in history. On paper, it sounds like a supportive husband defending his incredibly talented wife, but when you actually watch the moment, something feels off. First of all, let's talk about what Jay-Z actually said. He's up there criticizing the Grammys, pointing out their bias, making a whole speech about how they've disrespected Beyoncé. But here's the weird part. He doesn't call her Beyoncé. He doesn't call her his wife. He refers to her as this young lady. This young lady. Who talks about their spouse of over a decade, the mother of their children, like they're a stranger they just met? The phrasing was so odd that it immediately caught people's attention and had them wondering what was really going on. And if you watch Beyoncé's reaction during the speech, she doesn't look touched or grateful or proud. She looks uncomfortable, tense, almost annoyed. This is supposed to be her husband standing up for her on one of the biggest stages in music, and she's sitting there looking like she wishes he would stop talking. Her body language was so noticeably off that fans started analyzing it frame by frame, pointing out how she barely reacted, how she seemed to be forcing a smile, how she looked ready to leave the moment he finished speaking, which is exactly what she did. As soon as Jay-Z wrapped up his speech, he, Beyoncé, and Blue Ivy got up and left the Grammys. They didn't stay for the rest of the show. They didn't celebrate, they just dipped. Now, think about how strange that is. Jay-Z just accepted a major award, the Global Impact Award, which is a huge deal. You'd think they'd stick around, do some press, take some photos, enjoy the moment, but instead, they bounced immediately. And people are asking why. Was it because Beyoncé was genuinely upset about something? Was the tension between them too obvious to hide for much longer? Or was the whole speech actually a calculated PR move to make Jay look supportive while their marriage was falling apart behind the scenes? The other thing that has people scratching their heads is the hypocrisy of the moment. Jay-Z is standing there accepting an award from the Grammys, an institution he respects enough to show up for and receive accolades from. But at the same time, he's dragging them for being biased against his wife. So which is it? Are the Grammys legitimate enough to matter, or are they so corrupt that Beyoncé's been robbed for years? You can't really have it both ways. Either their awards mean something and Jay should be honored to receive one, or they don't mean anything and he shouldn't have accepted it in the first place. And here's where the Diddy comparison comes back in, because people are noticing eerie parallels between this moment and something that happened with Diddy and Cassie. Months before Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, he gave a speech at the BET Awards and made a point of publicly thanking her, shouting her out, making it seem like everything was fine between them. At the time, people thought it was sweet. But in retrospect, it looks like he was trying to control the narrative, to publicly claim that their relationship was good so that when she came forward with allegations, people would be less likely to believe her because, look, he just thanked her on stage. Is that what Jay-Z was doing at the Grammys? Was he creating a public moment where he appeared to be Beyoncé's defender, her champion, so that if divorce rumors started circulating or if allegations about their relationship came out, people would remember that Grammy speech and think, but he was so supportive of her? Because the timing is suspicious. That Grammy moment happened, and then within months, rumors about their marriage falling apart started spreading like wildfire. There's also the fact that Beyoncé has been working absolutely non-stop lately. She launched a hair care line, she released a new album, she's been making business moves and building revenue streams that are completely separate from anything involving Jay-Z. And according to industry insiders, that's not a coincidence. The rumor is that Beyoncé is preparing for a financial split. She's making sure she has her own empire, her own money, her own brand identity that doesn't rely on being part of a power couple. Because if everything comes crashing down, if Jay-Z gets caught up in whatever might come out about his connection to Diddy or his past behavior, Beyoncé wants to be able to walk away clean. Think about what that means. This is a woman who's been with Jay-Z for over 20 years if you believe their official timeline, potentially even longer if you believe the earlier meeting date. She's built her entire adult life with this man. They have 3 children together. They've collaborated on music, on business ventures, on building a billion-dollar empire. And now there are signs that she's quietly preparing to leave all of that behind. That's not a decision you make lightly. That's not something you do because of a small argument or a rough patch. That's what you do when you know something bad is coming and you need to protect yourself. So where does that leave us with all of this? We're watching what might be the beginning of the end for hip-hop's royal couple. Or we're watching another storm that they'll weather because they've survived worse. The thing is, nobody really knows except Beyoncé and Jay-Z themselves. And maybe Jason Lee if he's telling the truth about having receipts. But here's what we do know. The timeline is suspicious. The behavior is suspicious. The timing of Beyoncé's independent business moves is suspicious. The way Jay-Z suddenly distanced himself from Diddy right when things got bad is suspicious. The Grammy speech that felt more like a PR move than a genuine moment is suspicious. The fact that multiple people from different parts of the industry are all saying similar things about Jay-Z's past is suspicious. When you add it all up, there's too much smoke for there not to be some kind of fire. Whether that fire leads to divorce or just to a massive shift in how we see the Carters, time will tell. But one thing is certain. We're never going to look at Beyoncé and Jay-Z the same way again. The illusion of the perfect power couple has been shattered, and even if they stay together, even if all the rumors turn out to be exaggerated, we've all seen behind the curtain now. We know things are messy. We know there are secrets. We know that the image we've been sold for 20 years might not be the full truth. And maybe that's what Jason Lee wanted all along. Not to destroy them with some explosive revelation, but just to make people question what they thought they knew. To plant seeds of doubt that would grow into full-blown investigations by fans and media outlets. To remind everyone that celebrities, no matter how powerful or beloved, are still just people with flaws and secrets and complicated lives that don't fit neatly into the narratives we want them to. So what do you think? Is Beyoncé really about to file those divorce papers and walk away from her marriage? Or is she too invested in the empire they've built together to ever leave? Do you believe Jason Lee actually has receipts, or was he just clout chasing and got lucky that his timing lined up with real drama? And the bigger question, do you see Beyoncé as a victim who's finally breaking free, or as someone who knew more than she let on and is now trying to distance herself before everything falls apart? Here's the reality. We're probably never going to get the full truth. People this rich, this powerful, this connected don't let their real lives play out for public consumption. Everything we see is filtered through PR teams and legal teams and carefully crafted statements. But that doesn't mean we can't pay attention to the patterns, connect the dots, and form our own opinions about what's really happening behind those closed doors. One thing's for sure though, this story isn't over. Whether it ends in divorce court or just fades away into another chapter of their complicated relationship, we're all going to be watching. Because this isn't just celebrity gossip. This is potentially a reckoning for one of the most powerful couples in entertainment history. And if Jason Lee really does have receipts, if Jaguar rights allegations gain more traction, if Diddy's situation eventually implicates Jay-Z in ways we haven't seen yet, then we might be witnessing a shift in the entire culture of how we hold powerful men accountable for their behavior. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you Team Beyoncé staying or Team Beyoncé leaving? Do you think Jay-Z is about to face the same kind of reckoning Diddy is going through? And most importantly, would you believe Jason Lee if he finally dropped those receipts he's been teasing? Or do you think he's been bluffing this whole time? Make sure you hit that like button if you want more deep dives into celebrity drama that goes beyond the surface level headlines. Subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Because something tells me this story is going to get even messier before it gets better. Share this with anyone who's been following the Beyoncé and Jay-Z situation because we need to talk about what's really happening here. I'll catch you in the next video where we'll hopefully have even more answers. Until then, keep your eyes open and your critical thinking sharp, because in Hollywood, nothing is ever quite what it seems.